Hello and happy Tuesday to everybody out there. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington, Tyler Zulli. I don't know about you guys, but traffic absolutely sucked coming in today. Other than that, it's a gorgeous day outside.
I didn't have any issues today.
Oh, Kelly Drive, 76. It was all a mess.
Construction or just?
I don't know. It was just backed up really, really far. But it was nice.
I have a conspiracy theory.
We're tinfoil hats a minute into the show.
I know. Happy Tuesday, guys. Here's my conspiracy theory.
Where's that spiral out or hypothetical? What is it, the 17th Tuesday of
Someone benefits off of traffic. I don't know who, I don't know why, but I'm convinced that traffic is set up on purpose. Why is there always construction done around rush hour?
Renee,
9 o'clock.
Renee, you're into big traffic?
This is awesome.
This is
Keep going.
Big traffic.
So you notice,
let's hear her out. She's starting to cook.
There's a lot of times major highways, turnpikes, 295, 95, 76, 676, whatever, will shut down whole lanes, 9 a.m., 5 p.m., and they'll be doing something like painting a line or something like that, or something small, but they'll shut down lanes for miles. And I understand you want to give people time to slow down and get over, but why is it always at rush hour? Why are you not doing that at times that are slower, that are not commute times? And then on top of that, there are people that just drive slowly, and that's what slowly builds up the traffic. It takes one person driving slow, then now there's a whole line behind.
So you've clearly thought about this. So
I have.
So who's behind this? Is it
somehow
big
construction
oil?
and government?
Big
I don't
unions?
know.
Are they behind you?
I don't know. I'm like, I have to figure out who's at the bottom dollar of this, because
Renee, you can't sleep until you figure this case out.
If more cars on the road driving slowly equates to something that leads to money. I just haven't figured out what that something is.
My leading candidate would be big oil, because the more gas you're idling and
correct,
wasting,
that could do it. But think about it. Like, there's a lot of times you'll be, and how about the times that you're sitting in traffic and it'll be like a construction sign, and you get up there and it's nothing, and I'm like, why was I just sitting in traffic for this? Like an accident, you can't plan.
Where do the rubberneckers come in on this? Do you think big oil got to them too?
I feel like, for them to strategically plan,
they're just Venmo dropping people cash
down,
to go really slow by all accidents. In Rubberneck.
Now those people I can't figure out for sure. They're just weirdos.
Don't doubt big oil. They could have gotten to those people.
It could be, but I definitely feel like construction and government to literally plan to shut down whole lanes, and sometimes they'll shut down like 2 lanes on a 3-lane street, like a highway. I mean, and you look and it's something so small. I'm like, conspiracy.
I like it. Tinfoil hat. A minute into the show. My guess is why they don't do overnight construction, because I have thought about that. It's probably time and a half in union.
Well, that's what Matt is saying. It is more expensive.
Yeah, because you're paying people not to sleep normal.
Overnight is dangerous.
Well, yeah. Well, I would imagine working on the highways at any time is dangerous.
Correct.
I don't know how some of those guys just walk around and trust people, because I trust no one.
I trust no one. And I see them walking all close to the cars flying by.
Yeah,
I'm
those
like,
guys
wow.
got some cojones. So welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday to all. Tyler, are you buying Renee's big oil conspiracy theory that traffic is done on purpose?
Too early in the morning to be playing these kind of games.
Traffic.
Yeah. Do Phillies get stuck in traffic, or do you think they have like the?
This is why people in LA take helicopters.
The Stonehenge Freemason,
big teleportation.
Yeah, pass card, like Denver Airport, Illuminati shit. Like, do you think they, like, does Bryce Harper sit in traffic?
Yeah,
or does he have some?
We're not in LA. We sit in traffic here.
Maybe he teleports.
No, I think
you want to go real deep down this rabbit hole.
I mean, listen, we know Taiwan was sitting in traffic. We know Ricardo Pinto was sitting in traffic. Now there no Bryce Harper.
Dickie Beans. Well, Dickie Beans doesn't have Bryce Harper Illuminati.
No, he's also like Ubering.
And he just turned down an assignment to the minor leagues. So see you later, Dickie Beans. Your new city's not going to give you a cool nickname.
No, yeah. I don't think that they. I think they sit in traffic too.
All right, I think that's the official weirdest start of the show we've had. What'd you say, Tyler? We recently did
seconds in
200 show. What? How many shows? 100?
I think we crossed like a 500 content threshold.
So it's probably like 150.
It's like 150-ish shows. Yeah, something like
Just
that.
saying, you brought up you were in traffic this morning, and
It sucked.
why were you in traffic?
I never saw a root of the problem.
Exactly.
173
Somewhere
episodes.
somebody started that traffic. And then it just traffic is a
It was
domino
clearly
effect.
BP oil executive.
All it takes is like one car to get stuck at a light for too long, and bam, traffic.
You got
is
all these
building.
oil executives out there barking like dogs, naked
Gas
in
is
traffic,
expensive.
causing traffic. It makes sense. Everything's adding up.
Told you.
Happy Tuesday to all. Everything is certainly adding up in the Phillies land. Let's get a thumbs up for some conspiracy theories.
Just pay attention, and you'll
we will
notice.
recap the Giants series the weekend that was. I've heard a stupid discourse starting. And Jim Salisbury is going to join us at 11:30, and we'll try and keep this as loose and sexy as possible here. But the Phillies have now won 10 in a row at Citizens Bank Park. The Blue Jays are coming to town after a 4-game sweep of the San Francisco Giants. And the discourse has started because Philadelphia, we will get to the Blue Jays series before we get to Jim. The discourse has started that, well, the Phillies are kind of fraudulent because all they do is beat bad teams. The Cincinnati Reds and the San Diego Padres are not bad teams. The Chicago White Sox and some of the others that they faced are bad teams. San Francisco, I would say, is not a bad team. They're a competitive team. It doesn't matter whether you're playing in Schuyler's Springfield Little League or Major League Baseball. Winning, 9 in a row, 10 at home in a row, sweeping an NL West, whatever it may be, it's still difficult to do. And Tyler put in our notion, our note sheet that we share. Like the Minnesota Twins just won what, 13 of 14, Tyler?
Yes,
Yeah.
13 of 14.
Does anybody out there on a national level, if somebody was doing the MNSP show, Minneapolis St. Paul?
I see what you did there. I liked it.
Are they talking about, everybody says the Twins are fraudulent because they've won 13 to 14, but they played the White Sox 7 times? No, they probably
And the Angels 3 times, who the Phillies just beat in a 3-game series.
Yeah.
So
it's a very stupid narrative that has started to take off because people don't like the Phillies. They don't like Philadelphia sports fans. And there you have it. It's as simple as that. But the Phillies are good. And it's not going to change when they face better teams.
So what also is interesting is here's some math for you guys. I got the math. How many teams are in the league?
30.
I mean, that was in the trick question. That's
30.
okay.
30.
I just wanted to, this is my way of I'm pulling out my teacher moves of keeping you involved.
Quick shout out to Mrs. Washington, my wife, and others out there. It's teacher. It's
you need a comma in between there.
Mrs. Washington,
Comma, my wife.
like-
my wife.
2 very separate people, right? Because Renee's
far
like,
as I
wait,
know.
hold on. Do I not know
Like,
something?
wait, what?
Renee, I have something to tell you. No,
Renee's
Mrs.
sitting here
Washington.
like, wait,
I thought
are we related?
I thought I did the pregnant pause there. I'm
No,
sorry.
it was not
All
long
right, my
enough.
wife and all the other teachers out there for Teacher
Yes.
Appreciation Week.
That's right.
I did just want to throw that out there
Look at you,
as you bring up
remembering.
your mathing and teaching.
Yeah, let me bring out my in honor of Teacher Appreciation
Yeah,
Week. So,
shout out to all the
how
teachers.
many teams are in the league, Jamie?
30.
Okay. Now, there are 9 teams in the AL that are over 500 currently, and only
Okay.
5 in the NL that are over 500.
That's almost half the league.
That is less than half
It's
the
14.
league. And one of
I
those
can math.
And one of those teams, of course, is the Phillies.
Yes.
So mathematically, the Phillies are going to be playing, especially since you play everybody in the league, at some point you have more than 50% chance of playing someone under 500. So it's irrational to say, oh, they're beating bad teams because half the league right now is under 500.
Yeah.
500 or less, because I didn't include the 500s. So yes, while I hear people, great. But at the end of the day, a win is a win, and it's not easy to win in professional sports.
Not at the pace that the
all.
Phillies are
It's-
doing it.
No,
I don't
it's-
care who you're playing.
It's really difficult, and to also convincingly win. Let's keep that in the back of our minds. Yes, we know there was like the 2-1 game versus the Rockies. We saw 5-4 versus the Giants. There have been close games. That's also going to happen. You're not going to mop everybody up. But when you do take care of business and you're putting up 13 runs and you're shutting teams out, that also is a lot to say too. Like you're taking care of business. The great teams win the games they're supposed to win, and they beat the good teams. You don't want to have the, you only get up. And how many times have we talked about this and seen this? You get up against the good teams and play fantastic, and then you drop down and play at the level of the bad teams, and you're playing awful. It's just narratives. I know, Trevor, you're like, these weak-ass narratives. It is just narratives, and it's like looking for a reason to try to discredit the fact that the Phillies right now are the first team to 25 wins in the league and have the best record as of this point of the season.
Yeah, I saw the guy, one of these national guys, I think he was from Minneapolis or something, whatever, and was like trying to discredit the Phillies. And I just quote tweeted him, and I was like, in my opinion, it's pretty cool that they're murdering the bad teams.
So
because not every great team gets to say that.
And if we're going to keep this narrative going, should Braves fans be hitting the panic button and they just got swept by the Dodgers?
It's a good point. Good point.
Should everybody that loses
Panic
to the
in
Oakland
the streets
A's,
in Atlanta.
the Oakland A's right now, who also are on a nice winning streak,
Buckhead's going nuts.
The A's have won 7 of their last 10 games. They beat the Orioles, the Rangers. Should everybody that's lost to Oakland be panicking? Because Oakland is still actually below 500 on the season. And in those 17 wins, they've beaten some really good teams that have World Series expectations. So losing a series to a sub 500 Oakland A's, should Baltimore be hitting the panic button? Like, you can't have it one way and only fit the narrative that you want it to fit. There are a lot of teams losing games out here and winning games out here that are surprising, it's just part of the game.
Okay. That's one narrative that is taken off that we find silly and stupid, but it's part of it is we as Philadelphians react to it, whether it be online or in sports radio or in print. So, we're partially to blame for this because we do take the bait a lot.
And they know that.
Fully admittedly, and we're very engaged online. So, if somebody wanted to, and I hate this phrase now, engagement farming. If somebody wanted to engagement farm a fan base, just throw a little chum in the Philadelphia sports waters, and we'll gobble that up.
We are very clickbait easy.
Yeah,
we take bait fast.
I fall for it too sometimes. It is what it is. The other narrative I've heard taking off, and I heard this discussion this morning on WIP. Ruben Amaro was in, and it's probably come to the mind of a lot of Phillies fans, but I don't think it's one that is entrenched in reality.
Okay.
And that is, if Bryson Stott plays a Gold Glove level of shortstop over these next 6 weeks, do you have something to consider? Should you consider moving Trey Turner to second base if Bryson Stott improves the team's defense at, arguably the most important defensive position on the diamond? Ruben Amaro was like, no, he's a shortstop, case over, and he's a man that knows how this stuff goes. I don't think it's going to be, even if Bryson Stott does play that Gold Glove defense for the next 6 weeks, I don't see any situation where they make the switch now. Renee, if we're doing the show 3-4 years from now, I think this is a possible real conversation because Bryson Stott is an elite defender, top 3 Gold Glove last year, finalist at a position that isn't his natural position. He's naturally a shortstop. He's a great defensive player. That may be a discussion 3-4 years from now, but right now, Trey Turner, when he returns, will be the team's shortstop. Mark it in concrete.
Yes. And I actually had the same thought this weekend as I was watching Bryson Stott. And listen, let me backtrack and first
say... He's going to be a better shortstop than Trey Turner.
Let me first say...
We can all agree on that.
Let me first say, I am not one to believe because Trey Turner went down and then the Phillies proceeded to sweep the Giants, the Phillies don't need Trey Turner. So let me get rid of that narrative because I don't like when people say those types of things either.
Well, that's just foolish.
If somebody's injured and the team continues winning, that they quote unquote don't need them. They absolutely need Trey Turner. Now, what I will say, as we saw Bryce Harper move to first base with Rhys Hoskins' injury, I think the difference is here you've got 2 guys that can play multiple positions. Trey Turner has played second base. Bryson Stott has played shortstop. I think the interesting thing is they're both extremely talented, top players on this team, high expectations. Trey Turner does make a lot of errors.
He does.
And
he led baseball
they are costly
in errors last year.
Right? You led baseball last year. You've already got 4 this year, but there have been some others that have been called as other things that honestly were errors. So I do feel like if Bryson Stott is Gold Glove caliber shortstop this season in the 6 weeks, and honestly, I know Todd said possibly more than 6 weeks. Around 6 weeks, it better not be. in the 6 weeks that Trey Turner's out with the hamstring strain, I think it just leaves you to, it's kind of the Spencer Turnbull, Taijuan Walker discussion of like, should you consider? It at least will make us think about it because you know that you have other options. I know Kevin in the chat saying Turner's also played center field. I mean, Trey Turner and Bryson Stott have played so many different positions that if you're going to get if flipping them means less errors, more double plays, more outs, you're giving up less runs because of it, you mean to tell me you wouldn't at least consider that move?
Well, so Joe DeCamara brought it up, and this was fully on the heels of their discussion I heard this morning on WIP. And, you know, Ben Davis the day before said, no, Trey's the shortstop. It's not even a discussion. This is what it is. And Joe's point was, you know, one, I'm sure a lot of people are going to wonder over these next 6 weeks, you know, if you're a Bryce Harper or a Kyle Schwarber or a JT Realmuto, a veteran that knows how hard it is to win, and you see for these next 6 weeks, to your point, more double plays are getting turned, less errors are happening, yada, yada, yada. It makes you a better ball club.
Yeah.
The reality of the situation is they gave Trey Turner $300 million, and that man wants to play shortstop. And it's kind of what it boils down to. It's as simple as that. But I don't think there's any denial that Bryson Stott is going to come in and play a better defense at shortstop. So enjoy it for the next 6 weeks. But I think this discussion is only going to gain some steam as we get used to Bryson playing shortstop. And we're going to talk to Jim about that at 11:30, you know, what the plan is from his best judgment. I would imagine Edmundo Sosa actually plays more short than Bryson Stott does. But it's still very TBD here, what the Phillies are going to do on a night-to-night basis.
They're going to have to manage the off days for guys because the same thing's going to we're going to have the same questions of who bats second. I know I've already seen that thrown out there. I know. That's
should be that guy.
The issue is, and I know Tim Kelly was put out this piece and was talking about it regarding, you know, when JT Realmuto has days off, who's next to bat second, should go second.
Hopefully it's
especially
Bryson.
Because you don't want to have lefty.
Sure.
So there's some, because of Trey's injury and how well he's been playing, it forces you to have to make some adjustments and pivots that we weren't expecting to have to make. I think the good thing about this is, on a positive side, it's never good for somebody to get injured, but on a positive side, if you wanted to pull something from it, this might be more chance. You get Bryson Stott at shortstop. You get him moving back and forth between second and short. You get Sosa out there more. You get Witt out there more. Maybe over the next 6 weeks, you can get more from guys like Edmundo Sosa and Whit Merrifield, since they are going to be splitting, you know, the time throughout the course of the week. Maybe with JT hitting second or whoever else hits second when JT's off, you get a little bit more from them at the top of the batting lineup that now when Trey does come back, you've got better production. But I'm not going to lie, if Bryson Stott is clean and doesn't have nearly as many bobbles and errors of Trey bobble Turner, I don't mind at least having a conversation around it to see is Trey open to it? Maybe Trey's open to it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know. But
I don't know Trey, but I would say no.
He might be team first and might feel like, listen, I can play second, third, shortstop, wherever's needed. He played third base in college. Like, I can play wherever's needed. I just want to be out there to help my team win games. It might be a spot that it's less thinking for him. And maybe some of those easy ground balls that should be double plays, he's now able to easily make it. You never know. You don't,
he's also but older. I would be highly pessimistic if that was the case.
He's also, the 30-plus crew, I feel like, does start to think a little bit more mature, a bigger picture. You never know. But I think I'm just excited because, most importantly, we even had the opportunity to have this conversation yet again. Yeah, much like we talked about with Spencer
Taijuan. A lot of good players that can fit in, you know, certain slottage. And even Edmundo Sosa is a more than capable backup. So it will be interesting. We'll talk to Jim about that in a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what? It's always tough to try to make the right decision. But you know where you can make the right decision? Wow, Tyler, you knew. Over at Rite Aid. So our friends at Rite Aid are fantastic for helping you make sure that you're up to date on all the latest vaccines that you need, because they want to make sure you're protecting you and your family, and that you also can stay up to date, have any questions you have answered, and make sure that you can always connect with their specially trained pharmacists who are certified at giving vaccines. Now, over at Rite Aid, they have vaccines in their pharmacy for everything: COVID-19, shingles, pneumonia, tetanus, RSV, chickenpox, whooping cough. And this time of year, it's great to make sure that you're up to date on your vaccinations. We're getting closer to the summer, then the start of the school year. You want to make sure that you and your kids are protected. They also have the ability to answer any questions you have for your youngins. Maybe you've got some littles that are under the age of 3 and you're not sure what vaccines they should be getting, when they should be getting vaccines, what age. don't worry, Rite Aid's pharmacist can help answer those questions. And the beauty about Rite Aid is in addition to having the options to get vaccines, you can also get your allergy medications, those over-the-counter medicines like Flonase and different Claritin, Zyrtec, whatever you may need to get through allergy season. You can go in there for maybe those last-minute gifts that you want to buy. Maybe you are like me, and for every birthday party, no matter how far in advance you know about it, you last minute need to run in and grab a birthday card and a gift bag. Rite Aid's got that. They've got snacks, they've got drinks, they've got ice cream, they've got makeup if you need it. I saw somebody the other day when I was in Rite Aid buying themselves some makeup and foundation. Rite Aid has a little bit of everything that you need, and it's the right move to help you and aid you in whatever decisions you're looking to make. So if you're looking to get some vaccines, vaccinations, medications, immunizations, or education, you can select Rite Aid stores that are local.
Was that a freestyle?
That was.
Wow.
I know.
Got a real Kendrick
Drake
situation.
I gotta get involved in this beef because I can go at them too. You can select Rite Aid stores that have a dedicated pharmacist ready to administer vaccines and answer all your questions. And if you've got any questions on your immunizations you need, you're not sure if you're up to date, you're feeling nervous to ask questions, a Rite Aid pharmacist will take the time to make those personalized recommendations based on your health history and discuss any concerns. No questions are too small. Just walk in or schedule an appointment Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And state age and health restrictions may apply, and you can ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for more details. So I've got a recommendation for vaccinations and immunizations. Need some education? Rite Aid. Find the location nearest you.
K-Red says Young Renee. And is that your stage name?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I need one.
Well,
I need like a solid rapper name.
Yeah. Well, I once looked it up. It's like your middle name in the street you grew up on, or is that your porn name? I forget.
Oh no!
No,
Wait, what?
that is the street you grew up on and your first pet's name.
First pet's name and your
Wait,
street
guys,
you
do
grew
you
up
guys
on
seriously know this?
is your porn
No,
name.
it's a running gag. It's not
It's
a
like
real
an online
thing.
bit.
So I'd be Patrice Toulouse.
It sounds like a porn star. I would be Shannon Overlook.
Oh,
Sounds like a
That's,
porn star.
wait,
that's
you had a pet name Overlook?
Shannon.
Oh wait, I'm confused. Is the pet? It's
The
what is
last
it?
name is the street you grew up on.
Yeah, the last
Oh,
name's
I'm
the street
sorry,
you grew
that's
up
wrong
on.
then. Toulouse Boardman. I like Patrice Toulouse better.
Tyler, what's your porn name?
So I don't know officially what my first pet's name would be.
Okay.
But the last name would be Paisley.
Well, what's the first pet you remember?
That was like truly mine.
Oh, are you stealing pets?
Well, no. Family
like
pet.
okay,
Because
so
Shannon was like my first dog. And she was a bitch.
then it would be That's I actually have to think about it because like we
Okay.
didn't have pets growing up, so it would be
Tyler, you're overthinking.
yeah,
this.
yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you're really
Whatever.
overthinking this. Just go with the first pet
What
you
is a
remember.
pet? Okay, what's a pet that you had?
Well, my dog now is named Kaya.
And what's
but
the street you grew up
Kaya
on?
Paisley?
Paisley.
Kaya Paisley. Sounds like a porn star. It works every time, Renee.
I don't know.
Joseph Oakwood, Greg MC in the
Now
chat.
that sounds like a porn.
It
now
works
that definitely
every
sounds
time. Share your
Oakwood?
point names in the chat. Let's get a
Oh,
thumbs up for
Lord
that.
have
And when I'm
mercy.
sitting around with friends doing dumb stuff like this, doing your porn name or
I don't
whatever
think this
it
should be
may
included
be,
in the read.
stupid internet bits. It's fun with a Miller Lite in your hand. Friends are around. You're having laughs. You're
Oh,
bringing
no.
people together. We're having a good time. And a Miller Lite really just kind of ramps up that good time. It's the original light beer, Robert Arch. What up, Liam? See, it works every time. And, when you're having laughs and you're sitting around with your buddies, a Miller Lite is just the perfect thing to have in your hand. A lot has changed over the years, but guys being dudes will always be timeless. Like Miller Lite, the classic, the original light beer since 1975. And a lot has changed over the years, but the great, delicious taste of Miller Lite has not. It will not. Because at this point, why would they? It's a light beer that tastes like light beer should. They keep it simple. They hold on to what matters most and get rid of what doesn't matter and what you don't need. And it's beach and pool season. And we need those light 96-calorie beers that aren't going to make us bloated and feel like a whale at the pool. So grab yourself some Miller Lite. It's the original light beer since 1975, and you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY Phillies, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than a regular Premium beer. Getting some porn names in the chat. Appreciate all you guys. Butch rocks. That is awesome, Chris Slemmer.
Oh, no.
I don't think I'm going to read that one, Dave. I don't know if that's right or not. But yes, it's, I guess girls don't do this stuff, Tyler.
No, I've never heard of this before.
No?
John is saying it's a street you grew up on and your mother's maiden name if you wanted to do the 3-name version.
Oh, okay.
Did he say social security number?
Now it's giving all your security information, John. Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
While I'm at it, would you like to know the times that I'm not home?
Right. No, I will honestly say, guys.
Yeah, that's totally a guy thing.
It might be surprising that as ladies, we don't do this. We don't sit up.
Weird. What do you guys do?
And there's way more fun things than this.
I don't think there's more fun things than that.
I think there are. There's no women in the chat right now to back. Although we had someone in there earlier.
Where's Barbara Carroll
where's
and Lisa?
Barbara? We had earlier, I thought, somebody here to help me out. I'm here by myself. Basically stranded as always.
Yeah.
No, we don't really do this.
Yeah,
I've never really heard about this.
Yeah,
I thought
really
you were
fun.
kidding. And then Tyler, without hesitation, was co-signing it.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's definitely a thing.
Lexi Harrogate.
All right, before we get to Jim Salisbury, maybe we'll ask Jim his name.
No, I don't think we should.
Yeah, Jim's got a great sense of humor. Real shout
I'll let you ask that question.
Yeah, before we get to the Blue Jays series here, did want to give a quick shout out to the Phillies community online because a really cool thing happened yesterday. Well, not cool that his cat got sick, but a friend of the program absolutely hammered on Twitter. You probably, if you're a part of Phillies Twitter, have seen his ridiculous photoshopping and videos. And he is very funny online and a friend of the show and a friend of a lot of Phillies Twitter out there. His cat, Mr. Tony Meatballs, got sick the other day, pretty bad, and he took him in for a visit. Basically needed like $6,400 or the cat was going to die. Absolutely hammered, put this out there. He was like, I can't really afford this right now. Set up a GoFundMe and said, hey, if you're a pet lover and want to help me out for all my stupidity you enjoy online, I would really appreciate you guys. I'll kind of try to get as much money here as I can. It was covered, Renee, within like 2 hours or something. An instance like this came up with another friend of the show, Nick Picone, a while ago with his pet. Same thing, like needed money. And the Phillies community, was more than happy to contribute and donate to saving these pets' lives. And it really shows you the beauty of sports, because I'm sure, most of these people never met Absolutely Hammered or Nick. And it's really cool to see a Phillies community come together like that online and support somebody like that. So very, very cool moment yesterday for our friend Absolutely Hammered.
We just had Bark at the Park. You're seeing these moments of the Phillies supporting, people's pets. It is remarkable the way that sports really brings us together and the community and allows us to have these opportunities to do something, bigger than baseball. For people, their pets are family members. My cats growing up and dogs, even though Tyler doesn't know the name of any of his pets, your pets.
It's not fit. That's not what I said.
Your pets are part of your family, and so I'm happy to hear that they were able to support him. Speaking of support, I know we've got a Niners all damn day in the chat saying "Go Giants, baby." We're still getting the dust out of here from the sweep.
Yeah,
but
geez, 4-game
nice
series.
to have you here. Make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up button while you are hanging with us in the chat.
Yeah, and let's bring in our friend Jim Salisbury now, who's going to join us. And Jim, hello, how are you?
I'm good, guys. Can you see me all right? I'm just kind of making sure I'm all set up.
Yeah, you look great.
All right.
Yeah, we're all set here, Jim. So we were talking about it earlier, Jim. The narrative is kind of taken off a little bit online from outside Philadelphia that the Phillies win streak isn't that impressive because they're beating up on bad teams, as if the Phillies were supposed to play the teams that weren't on their schedule.
Right.
What do you make of that incredibly stupid narrative, Jim?
Where's that coming from?
People outside Philadelphia, that they haven't beaten a team with an over 500 win percentage since, way back to
Well,
March.
I mean, what are their credentials? Do they play in the major leagues? Because I'll tell you what, you talk to opponents and they're very impressed with the Phillies. And again, the schedule comes out usually in August the previous year, and you can only play the team that's in that little block on the calendar that night. So I will agree. They have not faced sort of the iron of baseball. But what is the iron of baseball other than the Braves, who they have faced, other than the Dodgers, who they have yet to face, the Orioles, and the Phillies, the Yankees. They have played some of the weaker teams, but there's quite a few weaker teams in baseball this year. That said, I think, their starting pitching passes the eye test for being pretty dominant and pretty damn good. So, it's like everything in the game. It's like a good hoagie. It starts with the bread. A good baseball team starts with the starting pitching, and the Phillies have very good starting pitching. They have really good track records in their offense, and a lot of those track records are now starting to show. So, I think you can make the point they've played an easy schedule, but I don't think it detracts one bit from what they are or what they have done, because every team can only play one team that night. Why aren't other teams dominating like they are? They're playing the same group of teams, maybe in different order, but they're playing the same group of teams. They're all going to catch up with them. Phillies are a good club. This is not a mirage. I don't think you go, win 25 of your first, 36. I don't think you do that by accident.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, as we were talking about, only half of the league is over 500 right now, and the Phillies are one of those teams. You're going to play some teams that have a losing record, and as you mentioned, it's not like the Phillies can say, "Wait a minute, we don't want to play this team. We only want to play the top teams across Major League Baseball." But as you
got to clean up on them when you play them.
Correct.
You got to clean. They have really taken it.
Exactly.
Maybe a lot of their detractors are from the state of California. They have really taken it to the state of California in the last week or so, between the Padres, the Angels, and the Giants. And now, you look at the schedule, and I guess they're going to give the detractors potentially more fodder for critique and criticism, because, after the Toronto Blue Jays here, who have not played well, have not played up to, I would say, pre-season expectations. They go to the Marlins, who are a very poor team, and sort of have pretty much entered tanking mode here. You're not even trying necessarily to win here in 2024. So that would give the detractors more fodder. But you know what? You got to go and you got to lay it on them.
Yeah, and they're taking care of business. At the end of the day, a win is a win, and to be able to take care of business against those teams is still impressive. And speaking of impressive, Zach Wheeler, we saw again last night continue his impressive start. Now 4-3 on the season. He's got a 1.64 ERA. So across Major League Baseball, top 5 in ERA, 6th in WHIP, tied with Tyler Glass now for the Dodgers for most strikeouts. His WAR, a 1.8 WAR, leads all pitchers. He's been fantastic, and we know he also spoke pretty firmly on wanting to stay to the his routine, his day of rest, and how the 6-man rotation didn't work for him. I'm curious your thoughts on how we've been seeing Zach Wheeler now on 5 days rest, and after having him speak up and advocate for himself, essentially, he came out, backed it up last night with another stellar performance, and just the incredible start he's had, on pace to be a Cy Young candidate for sure, front runner, I should say. What are your thoughts on Zach Wheeler and his way that he's been pitching so far?
I can give you a pretty succinct answer. He's a great pitcher, and he's pitching great. So, the 6-man rotation, I really can't call it a 6-man rotation, because if you're in a 6-man rotation, it means you have 6 guys going through on regular terms. They did it just once. They dropped in Spencer Turnbull one time, after Taijuan Walker came back. And they did that, I think, for a couple of reasons. They were riding the hot hand, and they wanted to get Wheeler an extra day and Nola an extra 2 days. Nola traditionally does benefit from a little bit of extra rest. Zach Wheeler traditionally does not. But, this is such a talented team with a big payroll and high expectations and star power, that, October is the place that they need to go, and October is the place where the big shiny ring is. So I do think if you can give Zach Wheeler a little trim here and there, periodically, I'm talking periodically, 2 or 3 times throughout the season, if you can give him a little extra rest, that could benefit him in the month of October, when they could ostensibly go with a 3-man rotation. of Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, and they could blitz some people with that rotation. So I think a little bit of extra rest now and then could be a good thing. I can see why Zach doesn't like it. A lot of reasons. He is a competitive beast. He wants to be on the mound as often as possible, and he has a routine. He has a hard and fast routine that includes, 4 days between a start. It's a physical routine. It's a mental routine. It's a recovery routine. And when you slide that extra day in there, everything goes a little off kilter, and you stir in there on the bench waiting to get into a ball game, and it throws you off. And he didn't maybe have his great command or the best command that he would like to have in his previous start, and your head starts spinning. Well, maybe it was because I sat around too long between starts, and maybe that is the case. Maybe just a fraction of rust builds up. Well, he goes out there and he makes the comment in his previous start that he doesn't like the extra rest. He goes out there and he backs it up. I can tell you they're not going to overload him with extra rest. They're going to try to keep him on his regular day because he's so good. You want him out there as much as possible. But when they can nip and tuck a little bit because the prize is in October and he's so important to their quest for that prize, I think they may do it. It won't be a regular occurrence. I understand what they're doing. I think deep down inside, Zach probably understands what they're doing. It's just tough to sit around when you're that competitive and you're that good and you're that much in your prime. It's just tough to sit around. I think that one extra day.
So, Jim, since the last time we talked, unfortunately, Trey Turner had a game-winning injury on an incredible play going second to home. My wife, as soon as it happened, goes, "Why is he so angry that he just scored?" And we find out he felt his hamstring go. Now, last night, we see Bryson Stott play shortstop. Whit Merrifield is capable of playing second, offered up to Rob. He can play short. Edmundo Sosa is a more than capable backup shortstop. What is your best guess on how this plays out? Is Sosa going to be the more regular shortstop with Stott supplementing him when you slide in Whit? Is that kind of the best guess as how this is going to go?
I think you used the key word Sosa as the backup. I think that's what he profiles as, a guy that comes off your bench and can help you at multiple infield positions. And I think that's still the way they're going to go. They haven't really cast anything firmly in stone, but the fact that they went to Stott so quickly at shortstop and Merrifield so quickly at second base, and the fact that Merrifield came up with a big hit yesterday and another win, Stott can be very capable at shortstop. I mean, he was a rookie, and he played half a season at shortstop and helped the team get to the World Series. He can do it. I think that provides you with your best everyday lineup and your best chance of maintaining where you are as such an important player as Trey Turner is out of the lineup. So I think we're going to see a lot of Stott at shortstop, a lot of Merrifield at second base. I think there will be days when you see Sosa get some time at shortstop, more in a backup role, or depending on the matchup of the pitcher, maybe for a left-hander, if they decide to give Stott a little break. I think you could see that pairing, Sosa at shortstop, maybe Merrifield at second, even maybe a possibility of Sosa at shortstop, and you put Stott at second just to keep him in touch with the position. But I think more often than not, you're going to see the pairing of Stott and Merrifield at second base as they try to weather the storm. I think it gives you your best lineup. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Stott gives you your best lineup. And Sosa is a backup.
I mean, Stott's going to be in there. Stott's going to be in there either way. I think Merrifield.
Right. I mean, he's a great defensive player, to your point. Like, he does give you your best shortstop replacement. The only concern I have is Whit's bat. Are you seeing anything from Whit that you think? I know he's having a little more success, but he got his first 100-mile-an-hour exit velo. Are you seeing him kind of turn a corner a little bit offensively?
Yeah, I think he's starting to, get some more hits and starting to have better at-bats. And it was early in the season. A lot of guys go through little mix-ups early in the season, and maybe he went through one. I actually think that getting some regular at-bats is even more regular at-bats is going to help him. It might help him for the long haul. So when you get back to that whole unit with Trey Turner back, Merrifield might benefit from all this and be a better semi-regular player. So we'll see. But like I said, I think Stott can play shortstop and play it very well. And I mean, he hasn't even really warmed at the plate yet. He's starting to get his kind of one hit a game, but he's going to get going here. Merrifield will get going. And I just think that's your best, 9 guys on the field with Turner out, to put Stott at short, Merrifield at second. I think you have a chance to cover it defensively just fine. and maybe get a little offense out of it. And you sprinkle in Sosa as sort of, a backup player. And that's what he profiles as. And that's where I think his value is kind of coming in there a couple times a week, sprinkle him in off the bench, and gives you a little bit of instant energy, and makes a big play, or has a big at bat. And I think you can, do it that way. I really think that's the way. Actions mean a lot to me. And the fact that, Stott hadn't played shortstop in 2 years, or since 2022, not 2 full calendar years, but since 2022. And they get him in there right out of basically really quickly. They get him in there yesterday. Kind of tells you I think that's their ideal formula. You have to be open to change if you don't think it's going to work. But I think that's their ideal formula to try to get through these 5 or 6 weeks without Trey Turner.
Yeah, the beauty is you have options. You have Bryson Stott or Bryson Short Stott who can play there easily.
She loves her nicknames,
I love nicknames, Jim. I'm sorry. Easily slots in there. And can, as we saw yesterday, even just having the 1 day of training, since they didn't get a chance to get him some reps this weekend with the weather, looked phenomenal. I think the theme here also that we've talked a lot about is the Phillies' next player up versatility that they have. You have the ability that when Trey Turner goes down and is out for 6 weeks, you can slot Bryson Stott in. You have Edmundo Sosa. You have Whit Merrifield. Even on the pitching side, obviously we officially heard the news of Spencer Turnbull moving to the pen. But as you talked about and as we know, still flexibility that if you ever need to give Zach Wheeler an extra day of rest, you can bring Spencer Turnbull and you can tweak the rotation. If Taiwan or Christopher is not pitching well, you have options there. So I think the beauty that I love is the Phillies this season have versatility, but that quote unquote backup option is a very strong option, which even with the narrative of them just winning games over losing teams, they're winning games in ways that they're tweaking the lineup and they're not missing a beat, Jim.
Yeah, they're winning some games. Spencer Turnbull has proven to be a very shrewd signing that any team, good or bad, had a chance to make. Whit Merrifield, I think, is proving to be a very smart signing now that, the depth he gives you, now that you have to endure an injury. I mean, they endured the loss of Bryce Harper the last 2 years. They had chunks of the season where they didn't have him. And, the fact that they were able to get through those periods is a testament to their roster, the way they built their roster. They have enough depth to get through these things. They've, built enough competent backup players that can help them get through those things. They have a roster where kind of different guys step up on different nights, kind of a different hero every night. And then the constant has to be, your big guys have to deliver. Your Wheeler, your Nola, your Suarez, Harper, Schwarber, Real Muto, Turner. And that's kind of, I just think they got a really nice mix of proven track record type veterans and some young ascending players that are really starting to feel it and really starting to become quality major leaguers, are kind of well into that process. And that makes for a nice team. And they got something really good going, something really special going. The Turner loss is a test of their mettle, of their depth, of their resilience, but they've passed a lot of those tests in the past, and I think they can pass this one.
Jim, speaking of that, and last one for you, Sunday Night Baseball, Brandon Marsh is mic'd up in left field. I didn't know him and Alec Bohm were living together, let alone starting a band called Loose and Sexy. But to your point there, you've been around the Phillies a long, long time. Is this clubhouse really as tight-knit, as special as you've come across?
Well, I've seen a lot of pretty tight-knit clubhouses. I was around for the end of Macho Row. And, it's a legendary clubhouse where they all had each other. What's that?
My first baseball love.
Yeah, I started covering the team in 1994, and those guys were still around, and they had each other's back. You talk about chemistry. Darren Dalton used to have to go into the trainer's room every night to ice because he had to ice his knees and everything else, and he was banged up and he was a warrior. So The rest of the team went in the clubhouse and in the trainer's room with him while he iced, and they all had a beer and they talked about that night's game, and it became this little culture inside the trainer's room every night, and kind of legendary how they would, unwind after games together. And I think that's a great way to build camaraderie. That was a great clubhouse. The Utley, Jimmy, Pat Burrell, Ryan Howard, Cole Hamels, Ruiz, Victorino. That was a good clubhouse. Those guys got along great. Victorino made everybody laugh. Ruiz made everybody laugh. He was this silent, kind of under the radar comedian that could just bring down a room, Carlos Ruiz. So, Charlie Manuel was part of it. That team, starting with Charlie and going into the clubhouse, that team had a great chemistry. I think the arrival of Schwarber in 2022, and prior to that, a couple of years, Harper, but getting to the World Series in 2022, I thought that was a really special chemistry. I remember the night they got beaten in Game 6 of the World Series in Houston in 2022, and how, as all the reporters and the media were clearing out, they just kind of congregated in the corner of the clubhouse, and somebody maybe, they were having a beer or a bottle of water, but they're just kind of unwinding, and it was very somber. And then all of a sudden you might have heard a little chuckle, and there was like, remember this. And it reminded me of like after somebody dies and you have the wake, you kind of go back to the house and everybody's sad. And then all of a sudden somebody says, hey, remember this? And everybody starts laughing. Everybody starts feeling better. So I guess I'm sorry to be so long-winded, but what I'm saying is I've seen a lot of teams with good chemistry, and it's special. And the common denominator is winning, and winning with good guys and good people. And am I seeing that on this team after 5 or 6 weeks? Absolutely. It's a continuation, I think, of what started in 2022. And how would it all be different? How would it all be different if they didn't rally to win that Game 1 in St. Louis? That was such a trajectory changer for the franchise in this snapshot moment over these few years. And they've done nothing but build on it. But Bohm getting so confident and playing so well and letting his personality show, the addition of Brandon Marsh, that young enthusiasm, Stott, mixing in with some of the veterans who are real quality people, Real Muto, Harper, Schwarber, probably Wheeler, Nola. I just think it has made for a special chemistry. So yes, I am seeing a special bond, a special chemistry. They have a lot of fun, but I've seen that on other Phillies teams. The common denominator has always been wins. And this team is starting to pile them up like those previous teams. And enjoy it. I don't care who you're beating. Yeah. Enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a fun season. That's great to hear, Jim. We always love catching up with you every week. We will talk again soon, and hopefully the Phillies make it 11 in a row at Citizens Bank Park today versus the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, it'll be a quick series with the Blue Jays. They have not put it together, so
yeah.
But the Phillies, you have to look through the opponent and not care who you're playing and just pedal to the metal.
Love it. We'll talk again soon, Jim. Have a great rest of the day.
See you, Jim.
You too. See you guys.
And don't forget, keep it loose and sexy. So that's Jim Salisbury. Love when he hops on. You can read some of Jim's writing on allphly.com. Jim's back in the press box where he always belongs. So it's great to have Jim a part of the team here, and you can check him out on the website allphly.com. All right, Renee, we got a lot to get to here in the final 10 minutes. Let's jump right into the Blue Jays series after we take care of some business from our friends.
Ah, there you go. I
almost forgot about that, but I didn't.
I didn't know if you were ready
Tyler
for that.
made the producer eye contact with me and said, Jamie, don't get into something else yet. Get to your work. And my work is telling the beautiful people that listen to this show about our friends over at True Mark Financial Credit Union. If you've never been a part of a credit union before, there are so many benefits. You'll be blown away when you join it, because credit unions have your back. They have an investment in you, their customer. When you join a credit union like True Mark Financial, you become a part owner, which means profits are going to come back to you instead of going out to faceless shareholders that aren't a part of the community and a part of the area that you live in. And True Mark is based right here in Fort Washington. They have 24 branches across the Delaware Valley. They'll give you better rates, lower fees, and a better return on savings, and more flexible options with all the same digital tools and tech to make your lives easier that you've become accustomed to. And becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over being a customer at a bank. It's a total no-brainer. They care about the area. They listen to you. Head over to truemark.com/PHLY to learn more or to find a branch near you. That's truemark.com/PHLY. They're federally insured by the NCUA.
Yeah, and while we're talking about things that are good for you, let's talk about things that are good for your gut. That's our friends over at Olipop. Now, Olipop is the world's first functional soda with that classic soda taste, but also gives you benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients to support your gut health. 2 out of 3 Americans are dealing with digestive health issues. 95% are saying they're not getting the recommended fiber that they need. Well, Olipop helps to tackle that problem because they provide you with some delicious soda that's got 2 to 5 grams of sugar, 9 grams of fiber per can, 2 to 5 grams of sugar per can. And they also really do a good job of just making sure you're getting all the nutrients that you need to give your body the best chance of a nice, healthy, smooth-flowing digestive system. And with Olipop, they also have some flavorful options for you. You can check out their classic grape, which I know is one of the favorites here for us at PHLY.
Tyler's
Tyler's
over that
definitely
grape.
a classic grape sicko. Strawberry vanilla, cream soda, cherry cola. They've got lemon lime. They've got classic root beer. And as you see in the Olipop fridge that's right over my shoulder, they've got some fun, colorful cans with delicious flavors for you. And I always tell people there's a flavor that works for you. You can maybe have it with ice cream as a root beer float. Maybe you have it as a mixer. Maybe you drink it straight. But there's so many options for you. Ginger ale, you name it, they've got it. And there's always something delicious and nostalgic flavors that work for you. So check out Olipop today because they are available online on Amazon, on drinkolipop.com, but also in 30,000 retailers nationwide. Wawa, Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite, also on GoPuff. You can find Olipop and get started today and use that code PHLY20 for 20% off your next Olipop order. That discount does only apply to one-time orders, not subscription orders. Olipop, again, sold online in Amazon or on drinkolipop.com, but also available in those 30,000 retailers nationwide where you can check them out on the shelves of Wawa, Target, Sprouts, you name it, to get your digestive health back in order, feeling good, tasting good with Olipop.
Yeah, I got a text from my friend Dan Duffy this morning with a case of Olipop, and he said, "My gut thanks you, my friend."
Oh, that's how you know you're a real one, Jamie. You're a good friend.
And I think our cocktail club is going to have Bill Matz's Chaos Agent coming up here. All right, let's get into the quick Blue Jay series, and then we got to talk about the future being bright here, courtesy of our friends at Shady Rays, who are awesome. But 2-game series, quick Coward series, unless, of course, the Phillies win 2 games. Then it was awesome. If they split 1-1, total Coward series.
Oh.
I just don't like a series where somebody can't, by default, win. You know what I mean?
So by the time the season's over, the Phillies will have won every series, according to Jamie.
You always
Every
say
series except the ones that don't
The
matter.
ones that matter.
Jamie always says that series don't exist.
Well, I mean, if they split 1-1, who won? There's no victor. Somebody has to win.
Jamie will
Renee.
be
That doesn't
asking for
mean it doesn't
19-game
exist.
series soon. Play the same team 2 weeks in a row, cowards.
That's fine.
Jeez
Yeah, give me a
Louise.
19-game series versus the Braves.
I think honestly, what you might consider is I think in the low minors now they're playing 6-game series, right? They play Monday through Sunday against,
can
or Monday
split
through
that
Saturday
too,
against
though.
the
They can
same
No,
split
but
that
you
3-3. That's
Jamie
coward
doesn't
stuff.
want any splits.
And it has to be an odd number. Somebody has to win.
No even games.
Somebody has to lose. Somebody has to win. This is very simple.
Okay.
So
Can
it is a
just-
2-game
okay.
series. All right. Tonight.
They do have, for Toronto, lowest across the league in runs scored, but also runs against. So this is a great chance that the Phillies can also pounce on them a bit because they've been giving up a lot of runs, even though they do score decent. So
tonight
matchup.
it starts off with Jose Berrios versus Cristopher Sanchez. Jose's been pretty good this year. He's 4-2 on the year, a 1.44 ERA, 31 strikeouts versus Cristopher Sanchez, who I think has, I don't know, there's a narrative forming about him out there that maybe he should be the one that goes to the bullpen instead of
know.
Taijuan Walker. I think that's crazy. I think Cristopher Sanchez has been very good. Last 2 starts have been his worst, but he's 1-3 on the year, 3.6 ERA, which is still very good, especially for a number 4 or 5 starter, and 29 strikeouts on the year. Jose, I know Tyler will talk about some of his advanced metrics. Maybe a bit deceiving this year. Still a very good pitcher, throws some gas. Kind of the guy the Phillies can jump on a little bit, if anybody could. So I don't hate their chances today versus Jose, who's having a very good year.
Yeah, I think the tough thing for Cristopher Sanchez is he's given up now 9 runs in his last 2 outings and had given up 8 in all the outings prior. Of course, also was unable to get deeper in that Cincinnati game where he was pulled after the 3rd inning. He has struggled a bit, but you know, we're also getting a full season of Cristopher Sanchez. We're getting to see him consistently in that role in the starting rotation. And I think you can't expect, for as great as the pitching has been, for everybody to be perfect. And Zach's had some days that he struggled. Aaron's had some days that he struggled, and Cristopher has as well. So the last 2 games are not as great, but I imagine today's a get-right day for Cristopher Sanchez going up against a Toronto team that you should be able to beat.
So some
a Blue Jays team, by the way, just want to throw this out there, that also under 500 has come a long way from when we thought that Shohei Ohtani's plane was going to pick up his girlfriend and then going to Toronto to solidify the deal that he was going to become a Blue Jay. And since then, that was probably when they peaked. It's been downhill since then, but they do have some good players across their lineup. I know, Tyler, you're a big Bo Bichette guy, and Dalton Varsho.
They've struggled collectively as a team. It's been kind of weird. Now, some of their guys have had some hard luck, and some of their guys have just not played well. And I think it's a combination of the two. And if you look at them on paper, they're a good baseball team. Right now, they're not a particularly strong baseball team.
Yeah.
Some of the career numbers versus Berrios. Merrifield has faced him the most by a large margin, obviously, because of his time in the AL. He's 17 for 48 for his career against him. 5 doubles, 1 home run in those 17 hits. Castellanos has faced him 19 times. He's 7 for 19 with 1 home run. Stott is 2 for 3. Marsh is 1 for 6. Schwarber 0 for 5. Real Muto 1 for 3. Stubbs 1 for 2. Harper 0 for 2. Clemens 0 for 1. So most of the guys haven't seen a ton of him, but he is a very good pitcher. He's having some success this year. My. Yeah, really tongue-tied on that one. Tyler has the advanced kind of metrics that say maybe Jose's a bit deceiving with some of the luck he's had this year.
Yeah, so it's kind of strange because if you look at these advanced numbers, like the percentages are low. Expected ERA, expected batting average.
Blue is not good.
Blue is not good. His hard hit percentage is 4th percentile in the league at over 50%. His exit velocity is almost 91, which is in the bottom 7%. His max velo is in the max exit velocity, is 114.5. He's also in the bottom 4% on that one as well. True. But then on the flip side, if you look at his actual numbers, he's posted a 1.4 ERA.
Sure. Yeah.
He struck out 31, which is not great in 43 innings, but his whip is just north of 1 at 1.01. His pitching run value is 97th percentile. His fastball run value is also in the 97th percentile. So this is one of those situations where it's like
he's overperforming what the numbers say.
Probably going to get hit at some point, but up until this point, he has managed his situations well.
Yeah, it's probably not sustainable for the year.
Not to mention, in addition to that 1.44 ERA for Jose Berrios, he has recorded 6 or more strikeouts in 3 of his last 4 appearances against NL opponents. Let's hope today that the Phillies do not fall into that trap because we have seen them striking out a bit. But he is a good pitcher. And I know in the chat, Seth is saying, you can't sleep on any team. Absolutely agree. They do have a strong team, as K. Riley's mentioning. I think we're all in agreement. Like you said, Tyler, they've got talent. They just haven't been able to get results. And so these types of games, this is why it's so difficult to beat losing teams, because you can't sleep on anybody. And these are trap teams. Like it's 2-game series, which is your favorite, Jamie. They actually are a team that's got some fight in them, has the pieces there, just hasn't been getting the results. And you don't want to be the team that they get hot against. And now suddenly they're, clicking on all cylinders, throwing strikeouts, scoring runs, winning. So going to be a good 2-game matchup. And the great thing is by the time, much like this past weekend, by the time this series is over, we'll be having our post-game show. So we get today, we don't talk again until after they're done the series against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, tomorrow, 1:05 is the game. Chris Bassett against Aaron Nola. Chris Bassett stinks this year, 5.45 ERA. Aaron Nola does not stink. Starting pitching matchup in favor of the Phillies. All right, let's get to our Future is Bright segment, brought to you by our friends over at Shady Rays. Let's put on our rose-colored glasses and explain to the people why the future is so bright for the Phillies. Brought to you by Shady Rays. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY at checkout for 35% off polarized glasses. That is a great deal that you should all take advantage of. Shady Rays are absolutely awesome. And the future is bright, Renee, because the Phillies all of a sudden have a thriving farm system. We've been doing the Down on the Farm report from time to time, but this is now another little mini one because the future is bright for the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's start with our man, Aiden Miller. We talked to him down in Clearwater. He has now moved up 16 spots on Baseball America's top 100 prospect list.
Ooh-wee.
And the reason why he's moving up, the offense is there as expected. The defense has been impressing people and been better than expected so far. So Aiden Miller has had a high rise, up 16 spots on Baseball America's list for top prospects. Love to see it.
Yeah, love to see that Aiden Bauer has been playing so well. You've been hearing about his consistency. The power is there. And also on the fielding side, he's been showing well. So excited to see Aiden's continuous growth that we're seeing. Another guy that or two other guys that earned some organizational honors for the month of April, because we love to see, people get their credits when due for how they've been performing. Starting with Reading first baseman Carson Taylor, who was drafted initially to the Dodgers back in 2020 and through the last 4 years has found himself in Reading. Now, the Virginia Tech grad had a stellar April.
Hokey.
At 24 years old, yes, where he slashed a 354, 426, 708. He had a 1.134 OPS and went 17 for 48 with 3 doubles, 1 triple, 4 homers, 18 RBIs, 5 walks, 2 stolen bases, and 8 runs scored across 13 games in AA for Reading in the month of April. Great to see that he is also doing a fantastic job just among all Eastern League hitters to be second in batting average, slugging percentage, and OPS, and tied for second in RBI, tied for 5th in home runs. So putting up some really good numbers so far to start off the season for Carson Taylor. Carson Hone, I think is how you say his middle name. Taylor. Hohen? Hohen, I think is actually it. Maybe Hohen. Hohen?
The next guy we're going to talk about briefly, I don't know. I'm not the pronunciation guy. You should never come to me for a pronunciation. The next guy we're going to talk about, just quick update on George Clausen. Last time we talked about him, we talked about his phenomenal numbers. This is a guy that had Tommy John surgery back in 2020 or 2021, right before he got to Minnesota. He left with a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Shoulder injury for a guy that throws gas. I always think of Johan Santana right away when I think of shoulder injuries. And a pitcher, but George Clausen, the team says they don't think it's that bad. They don't think he's going to miss a ton of time. But obviously, he's been dealing this year. Never like to hear shoulder injury with a top pitching prospect.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he had given up his first run of his career. He was on a nice heater of 0 ERA in his 21 innings pitched, 32 strikeouts. For the month of April, he was named the pitcher of the month for his performance with that 2-0 record, 0 ERA, 32 strikeouts, 5 walks, and 43.2 strikeout percentage. Was doing fantastic in just honestly not giving up runs, hits, and then did give up his first run, and then also got injured to add insult to injury. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. I know I was trying to check out to see if there were any updates. It is definitely very nerve-wracking whenever you hear about an injury. And then one other that's not a great move before you get into your final guys to highlight, Mick Abel, who we've also talked a lot about. It's been a big opportunity for Mick Abel this season, especially with the Phillies, just having a chance to possibly work himself into the Phillies rotation. We've talked about maybe even this summer that could be a potential move, and it still is maybe possible, but
he's only 22.
Slimming.
I mean,
he is still very young. He did unfortunately move down 13 spots.
It's not great.
Prospect ranking. And so it's not good to see at 22, although he has time to fix his issues. He is not improving at the proper rate that you would have liked. Seems that it seems he has kind of gotten a little bit stagnant in his movement right now. So he is continuing to struggle to put away hitters. So we'll keep an eye on McAble because he's got a lot of potential there, and he's one that we hope could work out, but who knows?
And then the last guy we're going to highlight here is Starlin Caba, the shortstop, who was one of their highest international signings during the 2023 period. He is another guy that is a fast riser within the season. He's coming off an elbow injury that I think he lost some of the hype train last year because of it, but he had his pro debut in the Dominican Summer League. And him and the Phillies couldn't have been happier with everything that happened. He's an 18-year-old still. He's showing dazzling defense, according to Baseball America. One that could get him to a true 80 grade tool, which is as high as you can get on the scouting metrics. And outstanding bat-to-ball skills. His power might never be better than below average, but everything else on Caba's card grades as an above-average hitter or better. Jeff Pontus, who covers prospects around Major League Baseball, says Starlin Caba has been one of the most impressive young players I've seen in spring. Might be a 70-plus defender at shortstop with good bat-to-ball skills and approach from both sides of the plate. Here's a quick look at his profile if you want to follow Jeff on Twitter. A switch hitter is a unbelievable weapon for a team to have. And then the last note on the minor league system is Wesley Moore got promoted up to the Reading Phillies. So another riser within the system. And that is the future is bright because the future is bright. Dave Dombrowski, Sam Fold, and Preston Mattingly have really revamped this Phillies minor league system over the last 3 or 4 years. And all of a sudden you're seeing a lot of guys really start to thrive, and good times are ahead.
Yeah, it's great to see how, we're keeping an eye on different prospects and what the pipeline's looking like. It's great to see how they're progressing. As you mentioned, with a guy like Wesley Moore, who's got a save on the year. He's pitching 10 1/3 innings, 18 strikeouts, a .97 WHIP, a 2.61 ERA. There's some names to keep an eye on. There's some sleepers that are really catching people by surprise. And then there's some others that, the Aiden Millers and Justin Crawfords that we've been watching a lot closer. So the future is definitely bright. So bright you need some shady rays to protect you. But it's great to see the Phillies finally getting the pipeline really together.
Yeah, whether you're blocking out your haters or you just want to block out the sun, head to shadyrays.com. That's going to conclude it for us today. We will be back tomorrow. Phillies 1:05 start on Aaron Nola Day tomorrow. Cristopher Sanchez tonight. Would be great to see him kind of right the ship here today and get back on track where he was those first 3 starts of the year. So fingers crossed. We're talking about another sweep for the Phillies tomorrow on our postgame show. And don't forget Friday night, if you can make it, we're going to be hanging out at the Manny Young Brew Pub presented by Miller Lite. Doing a watch party, a pregame, and a postgame. So if you can, come hang with us and have a good time. So for Tyler Zulli, Renee Washington, I'm Jamie Lynch. We will see you tomorrow here on the postgame show on the PHLY Phillies podcast.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.